One of the easiest ways to improve your photography is just getting better composition. So today I'm going to run through some tips to help you improve your composition. Hello, I'm Noah from Nathan Cameras. This is a channel that focuses on helping you improve your filming and photography. And today is all about composition, composing your image. In case you're new to photography, composure or composition in an image is just how you frame the image and place various elements in your photo. The most common elements are subjects, foregrounds, backgrounds, and sometimes, especially in landscape photos, you will have a midground. Different types of photography require different types of composition. For example, if you're doing portrait photography, you'll have a clear subject. However, if you're doing landscape photography, you might just have a foreground, midground, background, not always a clear subject. However, most of these techniques can be applied to any type of photography, whether you have a clear subject or not. So let's start with the most common, which is the rule of thirds. Chances are, on the back of your camera screen, the default setting was for there to be a grid, a 3x3 grid to be exact, on the back of the screen. This can help with composition in so many ways, including the rule of thirds, hence why it's a 3x3 grid. So what the rule of thirds is that you place your subject in 1/3 of the image. As you can see in this photo, we have the subject off to one side, in the far third of the image, but in this photo, we have the subject dead center. Now, dead center is not necessarily bad composure and can be used to great effect. However, oftentimes you'll find that placing your subject in a far third can make the photo overall more interesting to look at. Now, if you don't have a subject, or just if you're doing landscape photography, another way to use the rule of thirds is placing your horizon in one of the thirds of the image. Now, which third will depend on whether the sky is more interesting or whether the ground is more interesting. For example, in the sunset, I have the horizon on the bottom line of that grid. And in this shot, I have it at the top line of the grid. In the second image, it's because the ground is more interesting. In the first image of that sunset, the sunset is what we want to focus on, so we want to put that in the majority of the image. So, let's get on to the next technique. This technique is also very common, and that is leading lines. Leading lines are just something that leads your eye around the image. For example, in this photo of a bridge that Leif took in Switzerland, he has the bridge off to 1/3 of the image, like we said, the rule of thirds, and then the line of the bridge leads your eye through the frame and through the image. Here are some more examples of leading lines, and you can see the different lines illustrated throughout the photos, and you can see how they lead your eye through the photo. The next technique we have is balance. Leif talked about balance briefly when he was talking about composing your shot for video if you're filming by yourself. That video, if you're interested, can be seen in the cards above. But the idea of balance is making sure that your frame isn't lopsided, for lack of a better term. Now, this photo is not meant to be a good photo, but it is good for demonstrating composition. As you can see, I am centering the frame, sitting in this random camp chair, with my guitar in the other third, but then that last third is empty. If we place something in that third, it looks more balanced. Also, as you can see, we put the horizon in the top third of the image, like we were talking about earlier. If we were to put it in the center of the image, it just wouldn't look as good and would likely cut off something important in the image. Before I get on to the last technique, I would like to ask you to subscribe. We have several more videos coming out soon with great tutorials like this. Our last tip is just look for something interesting. Recently, I was just driving along a back road, and I noticed that as we were going down a hill, there were these trees ahead that created what looked like a circle of leaves and branches around something. I don't remember what it was now. But I remember noticing this because it would make such an interesting composition in a photo with those trees surrounding whatever was between them. So if you look for and capture things like that, your photos will become more interesting than if you just had what you see every day.